Well, let's just start with athletic training then. I'm looking this up. So you're obviously the athletic trainer for Jerseyville Panthers, and is it just high school? I'm assuming.
I do a little bit with the middle school, but
a little bit with the middle school.
Yeah, I don't cover events. Mostly high school. I am available for the junior high kids if they need an injury looked at or anything like that. I just don't go to those
events.
Yeah.
Do you mess with the? I'm still trying to look this up and trying to find it. Do you mess with like St. Francis side at all? Because I know eventually they come up there and everything.
Not till high school.
Not till high school.
Yeah.
But I guess what made you want to start? We'll start from the beginning here with it. I still can't find it on here. What made you want to start doing it? Because I thought about athletic training while I was growing up, and it was just there's too many body parts, too many. I'll look it up later. Too many body parts, too much stuff. Trying to remember everything. And because I know I'd somewhat tape an ankle for JFL and everything, but for you, it's what started it all, I guess.
So I guess really it goes back to senior year with football. Pulled a groin.
I remember, yeah.
And it was I'd never been hurt, and I've never actually been hurt since then. Had a little groin strain and didn't really know what to do. They said, "Hey, the athletic trainer Chris is going to come." He comes every Wednesday to do injury checks. Other than that, maybe on a Friday night football game, but it wasn't guaranteed. So he came and checked it out and gave me all these exercises and what to do and what not to do. And I missed the scrimmage game. And then week 1, I think we played at Route, I want to say.
No, I got hurt that game. That was week 2. Week 1 was... Who was week 1? We beat the crap out of him week 1. Because week 2, it was raining and it was in Route because that was the year I got back to back. I got hurt against Route. Who would have... It would have been... Wasn't Triopia. It would have been...
We played them at home, didn't we?
Yeah, because who would have been? It'd run through the north. It wasn't Camp Point. Wasn't Minden. Minden was later in the year.
Was it the year that Virginia dropped off our schedule, or was that my junior year?
I think that was your junior year. Wasn't that your senior year, Brandon?
Played SHG.
Yeah, we played SHG or the JV. Who else would be?
That was.
Minden was later in the year. I remember that because I wore long sleeves of that one because it was cold. Was it No, it wasn't ISD, was it?
Yeah, I don't know. Whoever it was. I mean,
it's going to bug me now.
Week 1.
Look that up. This is going to bug me.
That was 2012 football.
Yeah, it'd be 12 because I was 13. Yeah.
I mean, week 1, obviously, conditions are pretty good. Week 2, we go to Route, which they played at JHS Field, I can remember, and it was sloppy, muddy.
I remember that one.
I got through week 1 with some pain. Going into week 2, I can remember that athletic trainer. He wrapped that leg up as tight as it could go. I'm not sure if it helped keep my leg in place, but the compression and everything sure did make it feel better. So that's kind of how I got my start. I thought that was interesting.
You click the year right there, Brandon. Keep going, Tanner. I'm listening.
I thought that was interesting. And
down, Brandon, underneath the picture where it says
I liked anatomy. I liked human biology class, and I wanted to do something within sports. Didn't really want to teach or coach, and so that was really the way in. So visited a couple schools.
Next year.
Illinois State.
That was your senior year.
And Eastern Illinois. Ended up falling in love with Eastern. And
because I remember when I went there, they had a pretty big sports complex program of it, and everybody pretty much, not everybody, but there's a lot of people that went into it, and the times we went and played racquetball, there was just a massive thing of it. And it seems like nowadays everybody's dying to have an athletic trainer.
Yeah, I mean, after these events that we've had, the DeMar Hamlin deal, things like that, people are realizing that...
Was it Camp Point?
They can't afford to not have an athletic trainer.
It
was Camp Point then.
I don't... Okay, maybe
It had to have been.
Okay, I do remember that game. Yep. Because I remember we started off 0-1 and everybody thought we were going to be bad after that. Yeah. And then we won the rest of the games. Yeah. So, I remember now. I remember that game.
So that's really how I got my start. Just had two things that mixed between medicine and human anatomy with sports, and the aspect of being able to help high school age kids, really.
Now, and I say I'm dumb. I'm not dumb. But when it comes to, is it hard to remember all the, I mean, obviously you studied everything too, so it makes everything a little easier. Is it hard to remember what does what, and for example, parts of the knee, parts of the ankle, back, wrists, anything like that? Is it hard to remember all that?
There's a lot of things.
I'm thinking from my perspective.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you deal with constantly, so that's fresh in your mind. But there's a lot of things that I maybe have never seen, or I've just seen for the first time, a specific injury to a body part. And ever since I graduated and passed that certification test, I just told myself, if I don't know the answer, you can just find it. You can open a book up. It's only going to make you better. That's why I also enjoy having students that help me too, because I want them to challenge me I want them to ask questions just to make sure that I'm ahead on things.
Because I think that's one thing. You didn't have to just apply to athletic training too. It can apply to stuff Brandon does, the stuff I do, anybody does. Once people get to their, like you said, you took your test, and once you get there, you can open a book and learn something. Most people think they get there and they just stop. Yeah. But you can still continue to learn, continue to, like you said, you'll see things you've never seen before. You may see something 20 years down the road that you've never seen before. And like your final 5 years of athletic training, you may see something that you've never seen again.
Yeah.
And
you just can't be afraid to open the book. You can't be afraid to admit, you know what? I know I learned that, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, because there's so much stuff going on.
It happens.
What would you say is the most common thing you've had that you have to do? Probably every day you have to do this.
As far as injuries go?
Yeah, as far as injuries.
So I would say most of the time, there's not always student athletes that are rehabbing an injury, which makes me feel good. But I would say
you don't have a job when things are going good.
I would say most of the time there is somebody that needs help with an ankle. And whether that's coming in daily to get ankle tape or it's doing strengthening and mobility rehab after an ankle injury, I would say ankle is the number one.
So I wish someone would have told me it's me just being naive when I was younger too. And that's why I like athletic trainers now. I wish every school had them. Because like I said, when I was in school, I was told, but I probably should have listened more about like certain ways that you do things. Like I'm sure you watch people, probably not in the weight room a lot, but you do watch them and how they squat and how they go down, and if their knees bend in or if they're benching a certain way and the shoulders do, their muscles do a certain thing, that can have an impact. Maybe not right now, but in a couple months, a year or so, because I'll use like squatting, for example. If you don't do it right and your knees bend in, your hips will go off whack, and then once your hips adjust, then your knees have to adjust to it, and then it all just kind of comes tumbling down eventually.
Exactly. And I got a perfect example that Brandon can pull up. Robert Griffin at the Combine with his jump. Do they call it base jump? Or at the Combine?
What are they doing? Like jumping as far as they can?
I don't know if they jump forward or if he's jumping straight up and down.
There's broad
vertical jump maybe.
Vertical jump when you're going up and doing this, and there's broad where you're just jumping how far you can go.
Jumping form, you can see kind of what you're talking about, B. He ended up tearing how many ACLs?
Who, Robert? Oh,
RG3
had to do like two.
Ultimately ended his career.
The first one ruined his career.
And so if you open that first image there, so this is what I look for. I'm not a personal trainer.
So that's the stuff I was talking about there.
But when you don't keep your knees over your feet and you train your body to bring your knees in like this, you're going to run into problems. I mean, that's what we call a valgus force on your knee, and that's outside force coming in. And anytime you see an ACL injury, most of the time they're getting hit from the outside and their knees twisting in.
See, and it's so easy to say, like, what would you say, like, knees over your feet, is that what you said? Mm-hmm. It's so easy to say that.
Yes.
Versus, like, I'm just thinking, like, when I was in school, it's so easy to hear someone say that versus someone to come show you, say, hey, no, this is what I'm talking about.
Right.
You need to do this, even if it's uncomfortable, and putting them in an uncomfortable position.
And that's a perfect time, too, where if they look at you like, I'm doing it right. Sometimes that happens. Well, let me take a video of you.
Look how crappy it looks.
And then look at this in slow motion, because this is what I'm talking about. There was a girl a couple weeks ago at a track meet that she's having shin problems.
And those are a big thing.
And I made sure that I watched, and I figured it out immediately. She was coming on the straight right at me, and she's got the knees coming in, which is flattening her feet down, which is stressing different muscles in the shin that she shouldn't. So the idea there is bring the arch up and let the foot sit more with arch support. So her shoes were deteriorated. She runs so much. Those distance runners run so much. Shoes deteriorate. Arches fall in. And so then those knees start coming in and you get stress on the shins. Okay. So It was a pretty easy fix, but she didn't believe me, so I had to take a video.
Yeah, take a video to actually show her.
Yeah.
I guess I should ask you because now I got you here. The person would know this. Would it be better if she'd run barefoot? Because I'm a big barefoot person. They always say walking barefoot's better for you than actually wearing shoes. I know the shoes I have on right now. I have Vans on. They're terrible.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, and I haven't done much research on this, but walking barefoot isn't something that you're going to be able to do one day, and it's just going to be better than shoes.
Oh, yeah, I mean, continuously.
Yeah, and I don't know how long that period is that walking barefoot's worse than with shoes. There's got to be a period there for a long time before it's healthier.
We'll just say you naturally transition to it, and it's been like months. And your feet can take it. Don't bring it in like you step on a rock.
Yeah, I mean, I think surfaces definitely matter too. You see more shin splints on harder surfaces beginning of seasons. So somebody running on grass or turf all the time might have an easier way with bare feet than constantly on pavement or rock.
I didn't really thought about that with that going on. I just always like walking around barefoot.
It's the natural human way.
It makes my feet feel better.
I mean, it's a natural human way is the idea of it. And so if you think about that, they didn't have tile floor for the most part.
Yeah, they didn't have tile floor back then.
It was dirt and loose dirt, and that's comparable to maybe, yeah.
So you went to EIU, because I went there for a semester with you, and then you ended up graduating, and then you went. Did you go back? Do you have your master's?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you did. Yeah. So you went back for your master's, and while then you actually were being the athletic trainer for Toledo, right? Mm-hmm. How is that going? Because you were the first ever one they had, right?
First ever one they had. Man, they couldn't have treated me any better. The appreciation.
I remember I said you liked when you were over there.
Yes, it was a great place to be. Administration, coaches, they were bought in. And looking back, I mean, that's a fresh graduate that's just passed my exam, 6 months prior. For them to put that trust into me is something I look back on that not everybody's going to be able to do. And I don't know, maybe they'd tell you that at the beginning they were a little nervous about it, but they sure didn't seem that way. They listened to everything I said. I came in, I mean, think about that. No athletic trainer, here he comes. And so we got to follow some different kind of guidelines. And I got no pushback there.
I was saying, because especially with your job, you're not, me being a coach, you're not exactly a coach's best friend.
Not always.
Coaches like you having you around because
Yes.
you can rehab their players and get them back, but they're also going to be the ones to say, not say I hate you, but
yes.
You can tell they hate you if you say, no, he's got to be done. He has to say.
And I would say that attitude might go more with like old school coaches.
We can get in that here in a second too. I'll ask you.
Yeah. But a lot of them are so appreciative because I actually take a role away from their job, So yeah, the head football coach at Cumberland is taping 16 ankles before a game. So now I come into that role
to help prepare and everything.
I come into that role, and he's so appreciative that I'm there to do that because he's got other things to do.
But you only spent it was a year there? Or
it was a grad assistantship, so I got 2 years of school. 2 years of school at Eastern paid for.
Oh, cool.
Had a stipend. Not a livable stipend.
Yeah,
but
stipends aren't. I don't want to get into those.
But it helped me work, get my feet down,
get experience, and say, hey, I was an athletic trainer here.
But at the same time, it was a part-time deal, like 20 hours a week, and then finished my master's degree while I was doing that.
Let's say you got your master's and going with it, and then you moved to Jerseyville. What made you want to come to Jerseyville?
Well, there was a little hold-up between those things that happened. And it was called COVID.
Oh, yeah. Big COVID going on.
So there was a lot of different things that happened between that time. So after I finished my grad assistantship, the school was trying to figure out how they can get me hired. So that was May of 2019.
You said it was only a stipend thing, wasn't it? I'm not going to ask how much it's worth, but it wasn't, like you said, not livable.
Ideally, what they were going to do is get the next person from Eastern to come in, and they'd have somebody every 2 years.
Yeah, you just keep it going. And that's good. That's good for they want to do that. That's good.
But they really wanted to keep me around. And so they tried to find some paths to do that. And it just so happened that HSHS St. Anthony's in Effingham was wanting to expand their athletic training and sports medicine program. And so they hired me on. So May 2019, graduated, done with my grad assistantship. June 1st, 2019, I started with HSHS as an athletic trainer. So now I'm full-time at Cumberland and looking pretty good. So how long was that? May to March. So less than a year.
Less than a year, 9 months.
10 months. And then the pandemic happens. We all know. We don't have to get into that. Lose my job at HSHS. So that was a hit. But
so, yeah, because all sports stopped.
All sports stopped.
People like you said you're out of a job.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? I had to figure it out. And I know there's a lot of people in the same boat. I mean, I'm interviewing with country companies and going to open my own insurance agency.
So, yeah, because like at the time, who's to say that like it's ever going to come back for you guys?
When's it going to come back? You know, when is this stuff going to end? When's it going to come back? Why am I sticking around doing this? There's no jobs for me out there right now. So this is the time to get into something else. I looked into surgical equipment sales, things like that.
At least there's something you could kind of do that goes along with that, at least.
Yeah, and ultimately,
go ahead.
What that came to was I stuck around Toledo because I wanted that job back when it came back. I did not want to leave.
So you seem like, remember how you were saying they loved you there.
Yeah, I did not want to leave. So I lived in Toledo, worked in Terre Haute as a athletic trainer in their orthopedic clinic. So there's no sports, but people still break bones. You know?
Yeah, everybody can break a bone.
I can't remember how many doctors were in that building. I want to say at least 10 doctors in that building. Athletic trainers, each doctor had a nurse and an athletic trainer with them. And so in Indiana, the billing's a little bit different, but the athletic trainer would be the one that came into the room and say, fit you for a brace after you sprained your ankle, or showed you how to use your crutches. Because, I mean, that falls under our scope of practice that we're instructing and fitting and knee braces and things like that. So, you know, that job was eye-opening. I mean, you're dealing with the general public now.
So, yeah, you're not just dealing with, like now you're dealing with high school kids, maybe some junior high kids. You're dealing with, like you said, a variety of characters out there.
You're dealing with 80-year-old hip replacements. You're dealing with...
those things are even more... I mean, I'm not a medicine person whatsoever, but those are probably 20 times more trickier than someone our age.
Some of those people are walking a day or two after they get a whole entire hip put in.
Oh, I'm not going to get into from my work, and like I've seen people get a hip surgery and then they're out supposed to be walking the next day. And I know that's not, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to say I know what I'm talking about up here medicine wise, but I wouldn't think that's good. I know when I like pop something in my knee, me try and walk on it the next day, it's not worth it. But
they've got artificial in there. You know, they're taking your bone out and they're putting artificial in there. So the idea is,
and then really, does that kind of hurt you guys as athletic trainers? I mean, I know you're dealing with high school kids, but would that hurt someone like from a physical therapist standpoint? Because it is an artificial that doesn't really...
So they have to do all that rehab to get back because their muscles are going to be...
Yeah, the muscles are still weak.
To a new... I mean, some people, when they get knee replacements, it's going to completely change how straight their leg is. And so now their whole muscle aspect of their leg, and even all the way up into their back, down to their ankles, is going to be completely changed. And so they have to rehab and get stronger in different ways.
We can probably keep going about athletic training for a long, because I have a lot of stuff I'd want to ask.
Well, we'll finish this point, and then I'll let you go. After...
because I just wanted to get like, what were you going to say to the people maybe in the future that wanted, thinking about doing this? Because to me, this is something that, even though people think of athletic trainer, they think of just sports. Yeah. Because that's what you do is sports. It's still medicine.
Man, it's growing.
There's always a need, because there's travel ball going around. There's kids traveling around everywhere to do this. High school sports, I know not around here so many people, but in bigger areas, people need more. They need more trainers, people on site just to protect
We are
people.
growing like crazy in non-traditional settings, is what they say. Military, if you think about it, you go to basic training. I would be interested to your last guest, Andrew. I'd be interested to see if he was exposed to an athletic trainer. I know I ask a lot.
So yeah, they probably have a medic on site, but not like a trainer.
They do, though.
Yeah.
U.S. military has.
Oh, they
started,
do. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
The military has started.
I would think they would, for as much as they have going on there. It'd be smart to have someone like you there.
Industries and factories. I mean, you think about
they have
some of those factories. Those guys they've got one job all day, and it's twist like this, you know. And so, what do you think's going to happen if they do that for 8 hours a day? their arms are going to start hurting. Mm-hmm. There's going to be problems, overuse injuries, tendonitis. And so athletic trainers have emerged into industrial settings as well.
I didn't know any. That's interesting. I didn't know they had them on factories. I mean, it makes sense for everything you just said.
I'm pretty sure, talking to Trenton Harrelson, I'm pretty sure Dot Foods.
There's athletic trainers.
I think Dot Foods in Mount Sterling has athletic trainers there.
But I mean, it makes sense if you're working, like you said, in an assembly line and someone's sitting here like twisting things together all day.
What do you do?
What would
athletic trainers in industrial settings, maybe?
Because like what you're saying, if you're twisting these together all day, these muscles are going to hurt. Or if you're lifting something every day,
the same movement every day is going to be an
and then
injury.
lifting in there even puts the knees, your hips, your back, everything all into industrial settings. Athletic trainers will often design and implement, so they are there.
So proper body mechanics, how to avoid an injury. I mean, rehabilitation. We do prevention of injuries. My only concern with this, because I do think this is a good idea. It's just as a company, and I know a company makes so much money, it'd be hard just to put what a salary for that what that's worth. Because to me and you, that's worth something. Mm-hmm. But to a company, that job, really, how often are you gonna? They're thinking, how often are you really gonna work? If you crunch the numbers, I mean.
I'm just playing devil's advocate too, but I think it's important.
It's definitely going to be worth it to them because, I mean, I'm sure see patient insurances and things like that. So if you're an industrial worker and you get hurt at work, guess what? You've got company paid insurance, which they're going to pay into.
You got a therapist
so now you're going to physical therapy. So if you have somebody hired, they can see 8 to 10 or 100 of your employees instead of paying insurance to send them elsewhere to be seen. So now they're in-house. You skip a step.
So I never really thought about that going on.
Truck drivers, sitting all the time.
See, that's another, and it's the athletic trainers. I mean, everybody just thinks of sports, but it's even like that chair you're sitting in. Sometimes I'll sit in there and play video games. Like last week, I played video games all day. I think it was last Saturday. I pretty much played all day, and I sat in that chair, and I'm bigger than you, obviously. My hips kind of sat in, and my hips all week. I couldn't move. My lower back was killing me. I have bad hips as it is, but just sitting down like that, I felt like I needed to have someone pop me back in just for that.
And it was eye-opening in that clinic. I mean, to go back to that, how versatile we are. Now I'm taking sutures out of a patient's hip replacement site.
Say, do you do like stitches too and everything?
Well,
I don't know.
I've gotten some training on doing it, and we don't do it. I mean,
well, okay, say there's a football game and someone gets hit and they come up with like a cut right here to where they probably need stitches because you're trying to compress it and trying to stop the bleeding. Could you do it on the sideline? No, they'd have to have a hospital.
Yeah, doctor. Yeah, and I mean, right now it's in the early stages as far as suturing goes. But taking them out, I mean, I got pretty good at it. In that setting, I was used in so many different ways than I'd ever thought I would. So from there, to answer your question from earlier, I came back to Jerseyville once sports got started back up. That opened up, so that's where I ended up. March of 2021.
So you're probably happy to be back closer to home.
Yeah.
I mean, probably you love Toledo and everything you said sounds amazing. It's just nicer to be back to home and be able to help kids around the area. So I know Jerseyville's a little bit bigger than Carrollton here, and I'm basing everything off Carrollton too. Mm-hmm. How often is it now that since you're at Jerseyville? Because what are they in football? 4 or 5A?
Yeah, 5.
Does every school you play have an athletic trainer on site?
Yes.
Because I know around here, like when we played Camp Point, I know they have one. Mm-hmm. I can't remember any other schools that do. I know they have one. I think another school has one on site too, but most of these small schools don't have one. And I was just wondering if you said you see one every single game.
Every game. The only game I've been at Jersey for 3 seasons now, counting the COVID year. Every game except for one. We hosted a team from 2.5 hours away, and their athletic trainer they were hosting a big volleyball tournament. And so he wasn't able to get out of there on that Friday because they're hosting an event.
So yeah, he's got to be on site for all those guys.
So I kind of took care of the visiting team.
So do you guys? I know I was athletic director for a little bit, and I know athletic directors talk. Do athletic trainers talk too, or do you? I didn't know if you guys would. I mean, I figured you would.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know if it'd be like communication, like head coaches around different schools and everything, or if you guys communicate between injuries.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with injuries. I mean, I think people are kind of shocked. I may learn about an injury before the kid even returns back to Jerseyville of an evening, and I'm texting.
And that's probably hard too because you can't say anything.
Well, if a kid is at Waterloo and falls and breaks an arm, the Waterloo athletic trainer's got my number, and she's going to call me and say, "Hey."
So they do that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they do that stuff.
And so it's kind of shocking to people that are like, "How'd you know?" And so they'll send me the whole injury note.
And then I'm sure they'll probably ask like, "Hey, what do you think?" Or I'm sure you send the same thing. "Hey, I got this kid with this injury. What do you recommend, or what have you done in the past with this kind of injury?" That's pretty cool. I figured you guys probably did talk. Most people don't think about that aspect. They always think they're just locked into their own little world. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to these schools that don't have an athletic trainer on site, or have one that's hired? Because I know we can't go into like finances because some schools don't have the funds for one. Just what would you say to those schools that maybe you're thinking about maybe putting something in their budget or trying to get someone?
I think the not having money is a baloney excuse.
Well, okay. What
because here's why, and this is what people don't know. Here's why, and this is what people don't know. And there's some superintendents and administrators that don't even know that this is possible. Every school district has a tort liability fund, and what that does is it covers your school under a liable event. So somebody trips and falls on your sidewalk out front. Somebody, most of the time, if athletes get hurt and break their arm on school grounds, or a kid, has an issue at school and gets injured at school, or a teacher gets injured, they've got a tort liability fund to protect the school from being held liable for certain things. And so that fund can be used for multiple things, in which Jersey uses that to help pay for my cost. Some schools pay a school resource officer out of that. They're protecting their school from a liability of an event happening.
Does that fund reset every year though?
It's a tax. It's a
taxable thing, or taxes pay for it.
Yes, taxes pay for it. And so,
because what is it? I mean, I guess I'd have to ask like school board members and all that stuff. I guess where would the money go if it's not used?
It sits there.
It just keep piling up.
No, I think there's a levy. I think there's a levy, and I think it sits there. And
because I was gonna say, if everything you're saying is good, because let's say I'll just use Carrollton here because we're in Carrollton. Let's say Carrollton does hire one and uses that for the funds. What if something did happen at the school and the funds all have to go to that real quick?
Well, and that's the tricky part for small schools is everyone knows everything. Your bigger schools like Jersey are going to have higher more tax base. Going in. They got more people paying. Where here,
say like here, Pleasant Hill,
if you had to,
these small schools that hurt going on,
but nobody wants to raise taxes. Nobody wants to get the taxes raised on them. But if you said we're raising the taxes 0.001% to help pay for an athletic trainer, I mean,
I think if you said what it was going to, it would help out tremendously.
And I think that's the disconnect there. And I think the small school districts need to get on board with that. The problem is,
or if you even had one. Well, we may have one. I've just never asked why we don't have one like countywide.
It'd be a great idea.
Or then all the schools could kind of pitch in to where. And it'd be hard for him to be able to cover, like, he'd have to cover Greenfield, Whitehall, Carrollton. It'd be hard to cover all those, but it'd be good if he could, or he or she, 1 day, 2 days a week.
If you had a couple that just covered the conference.
Yeah,
if you had 2 or 3, I've never sat down to put a schedule together, but with football, I think
it's around here. There's not that many kids here.
Half the games on a Friday night covered that are conference play, covering 4 teams.
Because there's 12, so there'd be 6 games, right? So
you're covering 4 teams. You're covering 2 games, so a third.
Oh yeah.
But that's something.
Yeah, that's something rather than nothing.
And to be able to float around, I don't know. That would just take a lot of logistical. It'd be probably a nightmare to do.
Let's say with the sports though, because I know we got our baseball thing we want to get into, and then we'll talk about what this trophy is sitting here and everything. But this can kind of lead into, because you're also an official too, right?
Yeah.
Are you licensed? I know you're licensed for basketball, but do you do other sports?
No, when I first started out, I held a certification or a license for baseball and softball, but it never amounted to anything. I could never make a game, so I dropped that.
It's probably hard if you being an athletic trainer to make those.
It definitely is. I wish I could do it more. I mean, I love doing it. I don't know why. You get yelled at the whole time. But.
Well, there's just crazy. There's crazy parents and people out in the world that listen to people yell at officials. It's insane to me that people, because I get they're human, and I can't say anything because I've yelled at an official too, and I've said some things. I've done that too. But they have to realize they're humans, and not every call is going to go your way all the time. Because people are going to get mad at what I'm going to say, but like if there's a flag or a foul or something, and of course immediately as soon as like a flag I'll use football, a flag goes up and you know it's on your team, everybody's like, oh, they did this, why are they doing that? But like I'll sit back and I'll go, yeah, that was a hole. Yeah. That was a hole. It was. There's nothing you can argue to me that I just saw it. There's nothing you can say that is going to make me say that was a terrible call.
It's something
I'll say that it's a good call, and then I'll say there are some bad calls too.
It's something that you wouldn't understand unless you actually ever umpire or officiate a game, is that you are seeing the game from a neutral standpoint. And I'm guilty from, heckling some officials, but I'm seeing it from my team standpoint. I'm not seeing it from the entire game.
You're rooting for your team. And I get people saying like, oh yeah, I root for your team if it's you do everything you can, because I get it. But if it's like what you're saying, you haven't seen it from an official standpoint, because I don't officiate, but I umped when we were in high school.
Yeah.
And I just like looking at it from that aspect rather than like, I'll just use football again. Like if there's a late hit and people are like, oh, it was just a hit, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, he just came in and smashed him in the back.
Right.
That's dangerous and that's illegal. You can't do that. You'd be
what if it was
crying
your kid?
If it was the other way around, they'd be crying.
Right.
Saying it needs to be called.
It's the number one thing people have a hard time is putting the neutrality hat on and figuring out that you got to be neutral to see some of these calls. Otherwise, you're never going to see through it.
Oh, yeah. Or you get I'll use like basketball, because if something, let's say they go into the lane and make a free throw or make a layup, all of a sudden everyone's going to say, well, there was a foul, but then someone's going to say, well, it was a carry. There was a carry.
3 seconds, 3 seconds.
Yeah, someone's going to say something negative about it.
Okay, he was in there for 3.5.
Yeah.
If you want me to call 3 seconds every time up and down the floor, then I will.
That's how often would you call that in a game? Because that's something, I haven't gone to too many basketball games lately, but that's, even when I was in high school, that's something that I always heard someone yell something about it.
I yell at the kids. Get out of the lane. Get out. And I yell it. I mean, and a lot of times if fans hear you, they'll say, why are you warning them? Well, it's because I don't want the game to be decided by a 3-second call.
Well, like, because you said, if you want to, fine. I'll start going. 1, 2, 3, boom.
There's other aspects of the game that they have to understand that are way more important to the game than looking at where somebody's feet are.
I mean, if you have a kid sitting there in the lane doing this, just standing there, that's one thing.
If he's getting an advantage, that's when it's called. But if he's just like not making any move, he's being guarded, it's a turnover. We're going the other way. But I'll yell at him, and if they don't get out, I'll give them a second. If they don't get out, I'll call it. But I give them a warning. I don't just like pull it out of my hat and say, "Yep, 3 seconds," because he was in there for 3 seconds exactly.
Because if you're going to be strict on that, then you have to be strict on everything else. Yep. And like you said, that's 3 seconds is not. It's not the most important aspect of the game versus like hands on or boxing out and getting your body in the way.
And that's the biggest call on. You better be ready to call it the whole game as if you call moving screen up top.
That one's always tricky for me.
You better be ready if you're going to call one.
Better get ready to
call on the other end, because it happens more times than you think.
Well, because even if you walk up and you even just like. Mm-hmm. Move just a little bit. Technically, that's illegal.
You have to be within your body's limits. I mean, even if your knees are way out of your body shape, that's a moving screen, or that's an illegal screen.
And like you said, if you call it one time, you better be ready to call it the rest of the game.
If you're dipping,
And that's... So I guess this kind of leads into a question here, because we do have a shortage going on. Because I don't know if you know much about like football referees.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do. When I was athletic director for a little bit, there was one crew that told me they were booked up until 2026 already. Mm. To me, that's insane.
It's insane
that there's that big a shortage in Illinois. So I guess what would you say, because you've been on the side of both the officiating and the athletic side of it, kind of on the sideline, to see parents and fans, what would you say to these people to try and get people to come, because there's been a couple games that have been canceled or close to being canceled because we don't have an official.
My attitude on that, I agree with you 100% that fans and coaches can be out of control. But as an official, you're signing up for this.
You gotta know what you're getting into.
And
for the most part.
It's your job, and not always. I mean, somebody that works at Starbucks is going to hear it from somebody every day. They're going to not do something right, and a customer's going to let them know. Sometimes I wonder, and this may come under some scrutiny, that the thickness of
I'm not
skin.
going to judge you or anything you say.
Well, I mean, the thickness of skin of some people in our country sometimes is affecting that shortage too. Because
officially, you got to have a thick skin. You can't have a thin skin.
You do, and you also have to have. You have to be willing to give it back sometimes. Like that's one of my favorite things. Is like
you can't just sit there and take it, because as soon as you sit there and take it, everybody's going to know he's not going to say anything back to you, so you can keep saying something.
And you obviously can't make a show, but if a coach has got something to say to me, the first question is, are you asking a question? Are you telling me what to do?
Yeah, are you saying what to do, or are you actually come up and say, why did you call this? Because I'll come up to officials, because like, I know I just coached JFL. There are a couple times where I get really hot. It's not, I've really calmed down in the last couple of years. But I'll come up to the official now, and sometimes their immediate reaction is to come at me, but I know that's just from past experiences. Yeah. But I just come and say, I just want to know why you called it like this. And sometimes I don't come off the right way.
Right.
But I just want to know why you want to. I'd much rather have a civil discussion rather than immediately just like boom, 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 boom.
But one of my favorite relationships that I can build is knowing that a varsity basketball coach is a good coach, and him maybe we feel a mutual thing. He thinks I'm pretty good. Hey, Frank. He thinks I'm pretty good, and I think he's pretty good. So we're going to let each other kind of hear what we have to say. Because that's good. If I have respect for a coach and he's been doing it for a while, and he doesn't complain about every play, then I know that maybe I did mess up. Maybe he's got a basis behind what he's saying.
Because I guess I can ask you this too. Because I guess I want to know this as a coach too. Frank, get out. What point is too much from a coach saying something back during a game?
Next play. I mean, give your opinion, maybe. Once that ball's snapped again or the ball's inbounded and it's given to the other team, give up. Because then it looks like you're complaining.
Yeah, you're just...
You let them know what you think in the right way.
And then what if you don't get some... I know I keep asking questions before you answer it. What if you don't... Because there's been a couple times where I start to ask something and then I don't get anything back, and I just want to know.
As in they're ignoring you?
Yeah, they're just ignoring me. And I get from your standpoint, too, you just have to ignore something.
It takes a skill. I mean, some people don't have the skill of being able to come up with their reasoning. But a lot of times I'll just say...
Because I'm fine. If you make a bad call, I'm fine with it as long as you can stand by your call and you give me an explanation.
Yes.
I may not agree with what you just said, but you gave me something.
Right. And I think that's why I always tell the coach, like, this is what I saw. Could it be wrong? Yeah.
But this is what you saw. This is why I called it.
As an official, think about how fast you have to react.
Oh, it's this.
A block charge is like...
It's probably loud in your ear.
A block charge is an extremely quick decision. College officials sometimes may have it easy because they can go back and look at things. Not a block charge, but they can look at flagrant fouls now, and they can look at who tipped the ball last going out of bounds. And that makes a huge difference.
I feel like that kind of takes away from the game a
little
bit. Because that kind of takes away your jobs too, but also it makes the game the most accurate.
It does.
And then there's no human error coming into play, or Frank's going to tear up that chair. I knew she was going to. Or, like what you're saying, if someone tipped the ball out of bounds, and I'll just use, like, say it's Celtics-Lakers or something, and the guy's a Celtics fan, and he's like, he sees it comes out barely off the Celtics, like, oh, well, it's Celtics ball still. And that takes some of that play out, but it also, you're wasting a lot of time going back and forth, having to replay.
What I'm confused about, and it may be a segue into your next topic, when you watch the XFL, you see Dean Blandino in the booth with 45 60-inch televisions.
Why can't they do it in the NFL?
But in college basketball, the officials are going to a monitor and making a decision on their own. they're replaying it and making a decision on their own. Why can't we have like MLB? Why can't we have it where there's somebody else with the technology around them?
Yeah, and then it comes from a neutral bias.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say. Because with the XFL there, I think that, I mean, it does, they do a really good job of how quickly they do stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think that needs to be implemented not only in the NFL, but the NBA, college basketball, college football, just because, I mean, the games I've been watching, when he comes on there, he's giving you an explanation why this is going to say, okay, yeah, that is this. And there was one I was watching with Cody one time, and it might have been the first week. It was a ruling, it was a catch on the sideline where they had to think it was a catch. And he said, we have to, it's this call because you guys, he didn't say you guys, but we called it on the field as this. So that's the reason it has to stay like this, because we called it on the field as this. And he said if they would have called it the opposite way, then we could have changed something. Right. But the call on the field was this. And he gives you an explanation rather than the NFL guys just coming back going, oh, pass interference. Or out of bounds. The runner was out of bounds.
But Major League Baseball, they go to a monitor and they put headphones on and they wait for somebody to make a decision. So
I don't know too much about the MLB ones. I know they do replays for it.
Yeah, I mean, they're not making...
Because the MLB one
they're calling New York, right? So New York is where they're replaying everything and going to give them an answer.
You don't see anything. You just hear there. I wish you could see it and make things like that.
And I think this was last year. They just started having the umpires mic'd up. So they say, after review, just like NFL, after review, the ruling on the field is that the runner is safe at second due to interference with the second baseman. Because before, the runner was safe and we didn't really know the explanation why. The MLB has changed that, so that's good.
Well, I'm trying to get back into baseball. I know we talked a little bit before we started. I kind of got out of baseball about freshman year of college, and I'm slowly trying to get myself back in. Because I did kind of fall out of love with baseball for a little bit. But because there's so many, it's not like the NFL to where someone can come in and then they're a staple point for 6-7 years, and then you got like just a group of people progressing along. Baseball, you could be really good one year, and then the next year you're just complete ass, and then you fall off the face of the earth. Yeah. Or you're complete ass, and you think, oh, this player's a joke, and then they come up and then they're a star for 5-6 years, and then they fall off, and then there's just new consistent talent going around. And that was just hard for me to try and keep up with everything. But I'm slowly getting back into it, and so I was going to bring, because you know more about baseball than I do. What do you think about the...
I'm kind of the same way, to be honest. I'd say the height of my Sports Center viewing was 8th grade freshman year through high school. But really ever since that, we used to watch it every day. But ever since that...
See, I wasn't asking, what do you think about the pitch clock? Because I know that's a big thing going on. And I seen on spring training a game end on the pitch clock too, so I was gonna bring that up. But just the pitch clock. My take on it right now, I like it. So I personally like it,
and I think it's on the hot seat because there's so many problems right now. But once they get into the things, give them a couple weeks.
All these old people, they're still watching baseball. They're the ones complaining.
Give them a couple weeks, and they'll get the flow of the game down, and we won't. My thing is my hypothesis is
that's the right word.
Is that we won't even know in a couple months that the pitch
it won't even be a big deal. People won't even notice.
The batter's going to get used to it. The pitcher's going to get used to it, and it'll go.
Well, I have a hard time. I know we talked about this on our way to the Chicago for the Dolphins-Bears game. It's one thing to watch a sporting event on TV, but it's another thing to actually be there. And I'm like that with baseball. It's hard for me to sit here on TV and watch baseball, but if I go to a Busch Stadium or whatever, I can sit there and I can watch the game. Yeah. And to me, there was one Twitter clip I saw with the pitch clock. This guy struck someone out within 20 seconds. Like, he just got the ball, got set, boom, threw a fastball, got it, threw a fastball, and it was out. He struck out in 20 seconds. If at-bats were like that, I could sit there on TV and watch that all the time just because it's so quick.
And I think that's their plan, is to get people to view back in, because the disconnect was there with people coming to the game because it's an all-day affair. And
so, it's an all-day thing. It's
watching a game, I mean, it's crazy. Some of those games are taking 6 hours.
Well, even those ones that go into extra innings, there was one that was like 8 hours one time. I can imagine sitting there just watching baseball for 8 hours like that.
Which now they're putting that runner on second, so...
I'm still iffy on that one, because that... to me, because like I said, there's no outs, runner on second already, you just bunt him over. There's one out. You just need a sac fly. You just got hit it in the outfield, and they're going to come in. Yep. I mean, you still have to hit the ball.
But every team's going to get a chance.
Yeah,
it's not sudden death or.
I'm glad it's not sudden. I'm glad there's still the baseball aspect of it and the rule there, because I think, Frank, you're just being annoying. You need to go on. What do you think about PEDs? I think they need to allow steroids. Baseball's more fun when they're on steroids.
Yeah,
it is. That was the prime baseball. Was the 2000s, like with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa.
So, yeah, I have a buddy. Shout out Jeff, college buddy.
Jeff Pulowitz, whatever. I can't remember his last name. I know it starts with a K though, doesn't it?
Silkowski.
Sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean anything.
I'll never forget. I was anti-steroids. Because they pushed that rhetoric for a while there. And in college, I remember him saying that was the best time of baseball when there was home runs.
It was fun.
And
you couldn't tell me when Mark McGwire came up.
Right.
Well, this way, Mark McGwire came up, and you're just looking at Big Mac Lane. That's all you're looking at.
Yeah, and so that gives me a different perspective from the sports medicine side, the healthcare side.
So I didn't even think about that.
But at the same time, his take was, well, if you make it legal, then everyone has a chance to do it. And,
then it evens the playing field, and then those pitchers can use the pine tar.
If you don't want to, you don't have to. If you want to, you can. I mean, it's detrimental to your body, but so is alcohol. So
and
there's medicine and drugs that are
it really grinds my gears when people like what you said, go on and say, oh, it's bad for your body, but then they'll put this stuff in their body. When I know I'm doing it too. I don't drink that much, but people don't realize this is a drug, and this is bad for you. This is very bad for you.
Or the same, they're chewing tobacco, or they're doing other things that are maybe worse for them.
Yeah, in the long run.
And with PEDs,
steroids are still bad.
With PEDs, some of those you can do them in a healthy way.
So some are
with monitoring and a doctor maybe that's prescribing certain dosages.
Because if it's a medicine and doctors prescribe it, then it's there for a reason. It's to help you. I mean, obviously these people are going to do it to hit home runs and get better, not just to make themselves healthy. But like you said, a doctor can prescribe it to someone who maybe needs it, and like if you make it all legal, it levels the playing field, and the pitchers can use all the pine tar they want. They can do this, that, and then to me it just makes baseball more fun, more interesting to watch. I'd much rather watch a dude jack up 80 home runs a year than
which MLB, they say some of the balls are juiced now, to try to get more home runs. We got Sammy Sosa's cork bat back in the day.
What if they switched to a metal bat, aluminum bats? Do you imagine that? I couldn't. I mean, it always scares me when I see a
pre 2011.
Yeah, before BB Core, before BB Core.
So you're talking DeMarini voodoo?
Yeah. I've seen videos of
shout out Mac Fraley.
Pitchers getting hit in the head with a baseball, just like off a wooden bat, and just seeing how hard it hits them and like the sound. I couldn't imagine a Mike Trout coming up there with a 2010 aluminum bat.
Yeah.
Just beaming and hitting you right in the forehead. Probably kill you. I would think it would kill you.
Well, I mean, some of those guys were doing it in college,
I forget in college. They used aluminum bats in college. I forgot.
So 2011,
they need to switch to wooden bats in college, to me.
Yeah.
I don't watch college baseball, but they need to switch to
So when BB Core first came out, they were terrible.
I remember that.
But the bats really now, they've gotten a little bit better.
I've kind of went to some baseball games, and they sound like they've gotten better. I just usually listen for a bat the way it sounds. I remember when they first switched to BB Core. Would that have been my freshman year, sophomore year?
When we played for the state championship. It was still metal, but I think
it'd have been your junior.
So my junior year, I think.
I remember the bats sounded like shit. They were.
It was bad.
You could swing as hard as you want, and it still just sounded like you hit a dead tree.
Woody, the metal wood might have had more.
Yeah,
more pop.
That had more pop than anything. I hated that stupid bat. I forgot all about that bat. I do have this though.
Man, it stung your hands, didn't it?
I do
cold
have
days.
Oh, still broke. But I got the sticker and everything.
That thing was hot. Yeah.
But I guess we can go into this because I got that out.
Yeah.
So you want to explain what this is here? So I'll get this out of the way. If I start making noise.
We had the pleasure of playing together back in the day. Slow pitch soft. Well, we played everything together.
Yeah.
But once we graduated high school, we got into the slow pitch. And 2015, state champions. Class E.
Oh, you were trying to there. Yeah, Class E.
Class E.
So if you guys that don't know, there's classes in men's slow pitch softball. Class E is the lowest, but Class E there is no home runs. Where we played up in state in Decatur, I think you got one home run. Right? You didn't get one home run, but like your first home run you hit was just an out. But then after that, it was ending inning, and then the runs it started counting towards the other. Yeah. For the other team after that. And then it went to like D, which is 1 to 2 home runs a game. So these people would hit solo shots and your team would be cussing you out. I remember watching that. And then their C's are like 5 to 6 home runs. I hope I'm saying all this stuff right. And then like A and B.
Progressively gets to where.
Yeah, A and B where you like the stadium people you see on TV that just hit home runs every single time.
Yeah. So.
But what made you, I mean, I kind of know why I started playing. Just because I've been around it my entire life. Mm-hmm. I used to go to softball tournaments since I was like 4 or 5 every weekend. But what made you want to start playing? Because you played a year before me.
Yeah,
I played. I didn't play.
Right.
I didn't play. But I would come to the games and they would let me bat a couple times.
Yeah. So just coming out of high school and when you play 3 sports, you want to find something. Going, yeah. You want to find something and.
Oh, sorry, Brian. I didn't scoot in, didn't I?
Slow pitch is something I watched my dad play and my brother was playing, and it was something that I was really looking forward to, the Carrollton Slow Pitch League. After you graduate high school, you got to be 18 and graduate high school.
Yeah, technically. Yeah.
And we threw together, I say we, there's a select few guys that threw together a team that somehow, I would say, worked.
Yeah, I don't know how we worked.
I mean, as far as
we had a variety of people.
And I think that's what it was. That's my takeaway for the rest of my life with any slow pitch team is you need young, fast guys, which at the time was like Jared Smith. I mean, I was never young and fast, but I was young. Jacob Smith, not Jared. Luke Palin played with us. Those guys, they aren't the best slow pitch players. They're not going to make great contact, but if they do, they're going to run for days and nobody's going to throw them out.
Oh, yeah.
So you got them.
Because the bases, if people don't know, the bases, Frank, you're not getting on the table. Get down. The bases are, like 60 feet.
Yeah, 60 feet.
So if you're fast, you take a couple steps and you're there.
You get a mix of those guys with old guys that don't run, maybe don't even run. But they can hit.
I'll say, I'll say the hitting.
They're going to find a hole every time and they're going to hit it right where they want to hit it. So you combine fast guys that can't hit with slow guys that can hit. And then you put together a couple more pieces with middle-aged guys. You've got experience, you've got quickness, hitting ability, fielding ability. There it is. And a pitcher. So that's 2015. We did go in 2014.
So that was my first year.
We got third.
That was my very first year of actually playing. We got third. Then we ended up getting first. And then we went
second.
And then second. Yeah, I forgot that was the last year that we actually were a team.
3 years in a row. And then the year we won state, so the top 3, I think, get a bid to nationals.
I think it was 3, yeah.
Maybe it's top 2. But
I think it was 2.
Top 2 or 3 get a bid to go to nationals. Well, the first, I feel like we got invited the first year. I think it's top 3.
I think it was top 3, but we just didn't know. Somebody didn't say anything.
Couldn't go, and so then we got the spot maybe. But we decided not to go. But the year that we won state, we said it's in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. So let's do it. So we went to nationals. I think we got 4th.
I know. I still never found that. It's either 4th or 5th.
Nick Carter, he says 4th.
It was 4th.
Speaking of a pitcher.
He's my neighbor now.
Yeah. Speaking of a pitcher, in his prime, which I wish I could get him back out there because he may still be in his prime. We don't know. But remember when he had a no-hitter through like 6 innings in a slow pitch game?
And that's crazy to think, too. But, I mean, if you put the right spin on the ball, it makes it hard to hit. Because, I mean, if you put a sideways spin on it, even if you just, if you're trying to hit it right here on the bat and you hit one little spot off to the side or you put your wrist a certain way, it makes you just pop straight up in the air or make you ground out or just do something where the pitcher's wanting you to do that. Have you ever watched U-Trip play at all?
Mm-mm.
I went there, I was like 12. 13 maybe. I went to a U-Trip softball tournament, and U-Trip pretty much it's like normal softball, but as long as your foot as a pitcher as long as the ball is released and your foot is on the mound, you can do anything you want. So I saw these people throw the ball, pitch it, and they come running, screaming at the batter and get like from me to you away. And as a batter, like you can swing, but usually they just kind of freeze up. I've seen people throw it between their legs. I've seen people do a backflip and throw it, a cartwheel and throw it. It was a circus style. But when you go down to like watch weekend tournaments, these teams are good. Mm-hmm. I know we had some good teams and played some good teams over here, but
there's a whole nother.
There's a whole nother level.
There's how many other levels ahead of us? I mean, we're Class E, which we obviously take pride in. This is a pretty prized possession here.
So like I said, when you got here, I forgot this thing even existed.
Yeah,
needs to be clean though.
We had an article in the Jacksonville paper and everything.
Yeah, I still have it in the filing cabinet.
I was just looking at it on Google today. Brandon, you want to look that up?
Please type in
Weller Seed.
Frank, you're not getting in there.
Softball.
Window's closed, sweetie.
Yeah, click on that.
I miss playing softball a little bit. But
I mean, that's something, you know.
That's a character of groups.
Dirty, hot, cramps, you name it.
That's just a random group of people too. That is a random. We had just a random group. Frank, get down.
Dirty, hot,
Frank,
cramping, tired, hungover, maybe.
Keep scratching the green screen. Some of them were. Yeah, some of them were. I wasn't old enough to drink, because I would have been 19 at this. Yeah, I would have been 19. Yeah. What year was this, Brandon? What year was this published?
15.
Was it 15?
15, yeah.
Yep.
July 28th.
So yeah, I wasn't even 20 yet. So I was 19 years old when this happened. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good 3-year run for Weller Seed Softball Club.
So, but now you guys are playing in Baton, well, not Weller Seed, but you're playing in the Calhoun League, right?
Yeah, I mean,
League. I don't know what it's called.
I might have.
But it's mostly
three or four original Weller Seed. Not even that.
It's mostly Greenfield guys now, isn't it?
I mean, 2.
How's that over there?
Brandon.
I talked to you a little bit when you had me come play that one night. But
it's good. Getting put down in Batchtown
is it dying?
No,
it's not good.
Good. Actually, they turned teams away last year because they didn't have enough fields with daylight.
See, I know we've talked about it before. I wish the Carrollton one would get started, Calhoun one, and then you just 1 week you play here, 1 week you play over there, 1 week you play here, 1 week you play over there.
The problem is,
or even Jerseyville.
I think those Calhoun guys are comfortable in Calhoun.
Well, I don't blame them.
Yeah,
if they're all there and all the games have always been there. So I'd say the same thing if we were playing softball out here.
We can get 12 teams, instead of 8. If we open it up to a different field.
Well, and that's the thing too with softball. I remember when I was a kid and I'd go out to watch the Friday night leagues. Most of the guys out there weren't super athletic.
No,
they weren't
having fun.
Yeah, they're just having fun out there drinking beer. Yeah. There'd be a 6 foot, 300-pound dude out there. He wasn't any good, but he just having fun out there. Everybody's just having fun. It didn't care. Everybody's laughed if you made a mistake.
Yeah.
And it was more, I won't say a comedy show out there, but it was like just people get off work on Friday nights and just come have fun. And then you go to the bar afterwards or something. I wish it would get started back up. I think.
And think about back in the day, I'm told that back in the day, Carrollton League was at least 8 Carrollton teams alone. 8 teams when from we played, one small town.
There was only like 6 teams. We had one there.
Yeah.
Because it was us.
And 2 or 3 from Carrollton. And
I remember my first year, we did have 2 Carrollton teams though, didn't we? My first
KCs.
year. We had the KCs.
But they maybe were a mix. I mean, we were a mix too sometimes,
I'm saying most of us were it's like Carrollton, Greenfield, Jerseyville, everything too.
Yeah.
But I know I liked playing softball. I just wish more people would get into it. Even if it was more of I'd do a co-ed. I wish it would be a co-ed type thing with it. I think as long as more people are just interested in it, because it is fun. I mean, you don't have to be the most athletic person to go out there and play.
We might blow this a little out of proportion, but this is pretty cool.
It is, yeah.
To be a state champion, which you and I are.
Yeah, I don't got my rings in the thing over there. Yeah.
You and I are 2-time state champions.
I can wear this one with it. I'll wear this one to match it.
That's huge.
Massive dog.
That's what she said.
I didn't even show you these. You haven't looked at them yet.
Yeah.
So I got all the Tom Brady Patriot rings here. These are just my Cardinal ones.
He's a big Tom Brady guy.
Mm-hmm. And I got his Buccaneers one. that comes off. It has a stadium inside there.
Wow.
And then I got 2 Dolphins ones over here. But yeah, I got these for free actually. My wife ordered me these, and I think they were like $60. She got them for me as I'm missing a thing here. I must have broke it. I can get it replaced though. She paid $60 for them for a present, and they didn't come on time. And then they sent her money back, and then the next day they sent them.
Wow.
So
That's a
I got
good
them
deal.
for free.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I know, like you said, we may be blowing this out of proportion, but it's. I mean, look at the size of this fucking trophy.
Yeah. It means something to somebody else. You know, it means a lot to us. But I mean, they built this trophy, and
well, there's people up there that took it. I mean,
there's an All-State. I
made All-State.
All-State team. Which,
I think I have an All-State medal somewhere still.
I forget. There's MVP, All-State. So yeah, it's an organization that
There's a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
There's a Hall of Fame for softball.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something. It gives people a chance to do something outside of sports that you think probably ended in high school. And it's something, like I said, that you don't have to be super athletic to play this either. I mean, when you start playing like in big tournaments and stuff, obviously you want to be more athletic and have more athletic guys. But you can, like, for a Friday night league or a church league or something, you can just anybody can go out there and play, and it don't have to be amazing. That's just what I always liked about softball. And then just everybody, at least when I was around, everybody was always just in a good mood.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple times
wait
people
for
kind of
Friday.
had it. Yeah, everybody loved it.
When you're competitive, when you're playing at a competitive level like we were, you know, there's going to be some disagreements. But yeah, Fridays, I mean, we used to show up there early to hit.
Early just to BP,
just to be there. And
even just BP was fun. I like even shacking balls. I hate shacking balls, but it was fun out there.
Heat and mosquitoes.
Going there right after work.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, I remember working at Dairy Queen. They gave me Friday nights off just because of that, and I had to close Sunday or Saturday nights just because I was always off on Fridays.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I wish it would get started back up in Carrollton. But I wanted to get to this. I wanted to get to this.
Okay.
Our baseball draft.
Okay.
Okay, because I've been interested in this for a long time. But I'll kind of explain it here. So with baseball season starting, Brandon, I don't remember which camera I'm supposed to look at. What one I am?
Yeah.
This one? Okay. This one? Okay. So with our baseball draft here, we are going to draft a whole team by position. We are going to do 3 starting pitchers, 3 bench players, but we're also going to only do players mostly from our lifetime. Isn't that pretty much what we agreed with?
We kind of, I mean...
Oh, I forgot.
We all know about Babe Ruth. We all know about Babe Ruth and...
like Honus Wagner, Lou Gehrig, Ty Cobb, all those guys.
But there's no video footage, you know, and...
Well, and we just didn't watch him play.
Yeah.
I'll even use, because I remember I mentioned Bob Gibson to you. Bob Gibson, he's a Hall of Famer, but we didn't see him play. We can go watch highlights of him, but it's not the same as, Roger Clemens or C.C. Sabathia. Or John Lester or John Lackey, all these people that we've seen actually growing up.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
So what we decide, 1990
to present? 1990 to present.
So our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And this, at least from my perspective, I wrote down people that weren't necessarily had the best stats.
Agree.
I just did people I liked growing up that I would want on my team.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing this as if I was the manager of this team, and then I get to put people where I want.
That's kind of what I did too. So that's good.
Now, how do you want to do? Because this is up to you. I don't care how we do this. We can do pick, or we can do pick, 2 back-to-backs.
Let's go 1. Let's go
1 and 1 and 1.
1 and 1 and 1.
Okay. And then I'm also not going by position. You can go any order you want.
Okay.
Because that way I didn't want to start with starting pitchers and then work our way down. You can just do it. It just fields your team.
Okay. How are we going to determine? Because we need to do a draft. I mean, you can't have them if I have them.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So how do we determine first pick?
Brandon flips a coin jar. Yeah, I got a little coin jar. And I'll let you call it.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Heads.
Heads.
All right.
Damn it. All right.
First round, number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, the number 1 overall pick. I'll let you.
I can pick the position. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, okay. Well, now that you said, I need to ask you that. Do you want to do Okay, the person. So then you get to pick the position, then I have to pick the same position, or do you just want to go back and forth like that?
I thought that's what.
Okay, we can do it like that. We can do it. Like, so if you pick, okay, we're going to pick first baseman.
Yep, and then you pick your first baseman, then it's your turn to pick whatever position you want, and then I'll follow suit.
Yeah, okay? I can do that. Yeah, I can agree with that.
I'm going to go... Are we doing a closer?
I did have a closer on here. Damn, I didn't know if you... I was hoping you weren't thinking that route.
But is that in our 3 pitchers, or is that a different category?
That's a different that's a whole different category.
So 3 starting pitchers.
Closer.
A closer, and then 1 of each, and 3 outfielders.
1 of each, 3 outfielders, and then 3 bench.
Oh, okay.
Bench can be anybody, though.
All right. So, my number 1 overall pick.
You can't go wrong because there's so many players. You can't go wrong.
I'm going to say that since there's less closers out there,
Damn it.
I'm going to take Mariano Rivera.
I figured.
From the New York Yankees. Is he a Hall of Famer yet?
I think he is a Hall of Famer.
So.
I figured you were going to take him. I was hoping you weren't thinking about that because I only have 2. I have 2 closers on my list. So I'm going to pick. It's either Mariano Rivera or my pick. I'm picking Trevor Hoffman.
Yep. That's understandable.
So I was hoping you weren't thinking that because if we were going to do pick any order, I was going to just let you start picking other ones, and I was immediately going to take Mariano.
Yeah, I think that's...
I was immediately going to take Mariano Rivera. But
okay.
That's okay.
So
this will be
what position are we doing now?
Frank, you go on, sweetie. I'm going to do... This is hard just because this one I have so much to do. I'm doing third base.
Okay.
I'm going to take Alex Rodriguez. Just because I'm scared who you have. I don't know who you have on there, so that's who I'm taking.
So my third baseman,
even though I'm for steroids and PEDs, so that doesn't count towards me.
So I guess I'll mark A-Rod off my shortstop list.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say that's okay if you had that too, but he's already taken. He's already taken.
Okay. So my third baseman, I'm gonna, like you said, I mean, I'm managing this team. I'm with them every day. It may not be talent, but this guy's definitely a top 10 third baseman of all time. Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs. See, you're older.
Well, he quit playing in 97. Yeah, okay. I think I looked it up. He quit playing in 97.
He was on my original list.
12-time All-Star. The main reason is the legend, the tall tale of Wade Boggs drinking 107 beers in a day.
Brandon, look at that story. Wade Boggs drinking beer. I remember this story now. It was a ridiculous amount. It was like Andre the Giant amount of beers.
107 beers.
But this dude was a normal size guy.
So I actually looked up the story earlier. It was like after the game. He drank it from after the game, started drinking in the clubhouse, in the locker room, and then a flight to his next destination. And then they went out with the team.
The urban legend of Wade Boggs' 107 beer flight. Go down, Brandon. I'll read here. When Wade Boggs first took the field at Fenway Park in 1982, he launched one of the most successful blah, 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 blah. Wade Boggs is perhaps more widely recognized for his impressive, and we do mean impressive, drinking abilities. As legend has it, Wade Boggs once drank 107 beers while embarking on a cross-country flight, which he consumed alone. The feat was allegedly accomplished over the course of a single afternoon, which during the cross-country travel occurred, an achievement that certainly cannot be understated. Go down a little bit, Brandon. While the details are murky, the story goes that immediately after finishing the game, Boggs began drinking in the Red Sox locker room before the team was... He didn't even wait until the game was over. Immediately just cracked a beer. Before the team was set to head to the Logan Airport flight to the West Coast, Boggs continued to drink before reaching the airport during the first leg of the flight, over the course of the layover again on the next leg of the flight, and then continued. Jesus Christ.
So it said that goes on to say that the first time he publicly confirmed this was on Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the show. He was on the show and kind of confirmed.
The stranded flights, the number of beers actually consumed by Boggs a day have highly been speculated, with guesses ranging from 50 to 70. And it wasn't until 2015, when filming the cameo for Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that Boggs would confirm the true number, 107.
So I want this guy. I want this guy on my team.
I mean, he'll have a good party here. It's a good party on your team. Be the
Or does he just tell tall tales? You know, maybe I don't want that guy if he's
he might be a liar.
Tall tales.
I'm not saying Wade Boggs is a liar, but he might just be a good storyteller. All right, so you got to.
So I think what's going to happen here is if we go first baseman, I'm going to pick one and you're going to pick one, and I know who you're going to pick and I know who I'm going to pick. So I'm going to say first baseman, and I'm going to take Anthony Rizzo.
Not who I thought you would pick. I'm just putting last name. Well, if you're gonna go first baseman, I'm picking Albert Pujols.
Oh, imagine that!
I was gonna have Derek Lee.
I had him on my list too. I'm not gonna tell you who's on my list because we still have to come up with 3 bench players.
Oh shit! I've been crossing these people out where I can't read their names almost. I didn't even think about that.
So yeah,
that's okay. All right. So we did first baseman. I got to do my second baseman just to get him out of the way.
Terrible category, huh?
I'm doing Chase Utley though.
Okay,
that's who I have. I have some other ones on here, but it was either him or this other one that I have. So I'm picking Utley though.
I think, man, I don't want to do 2 like Cubby for life.
Well, I can tell you I have a lot of Cardinal people on here.
I'm going to go Ryan Sandberg.
He wasn't on my list at all.
So, just got a statue outside Wrigley Field, so.
That's pretty cool. I want to go to Wrigley Field someday. I want to go, just to say I went.
All right.
So we did that one. We did second base. And we don't have to do starting pitchers 3 and 3. We can do you can always go back. Because I know we got to pick 3 of those. So the first one is your 8.
Let's do one of the big groups. Let's go ahead and do starting pitchers.
Okay. This is your ace.
I think I say one, you get one, because there's maybe only 3 first-round draft picks. You know what I mean? In that group, and I don't want to take all 3.
Yeah. One.
I'll go one for one until we get our 3. Okay. My ace, Greg Maddux.
Okay, he was on my list. That's not who I would think you were going to go with right off the bat, but that's still a good pick. I remember reading a book about him in June. Well, I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. He was one of the first ones I actually read a biography on, and I did like him because he never threw very hard.
Never threw very hard.
He just knew where to put it.
He could though.
He could. He didn't want to.
He could. Didn't have to. Didn't want to.
Yeah, didn't have to. It's not going to hurt his arm. But my ace is the big unit, Randy Johnson. I got to take him. Dude, he killed a fucking bird.
It just went poof.
I got to take him.
It just went poof.
I'll stick with starting pitcher so we can get another one off the board here. This is another hard one. I'm taking another PED guy, Roger Clemens.
Okay.
You can't deny Roger Clemens to me is a Hall of Famer. I don't care what people say.
I'm going to take next Pedro Martinez.
Damn it, he was my number 2. Damn it. I was afraid that if you would taken Pedro, you'd have taken Roger.
Let's just finish out the pitchers.
Okay, we can do that.
My final pick for pitcher.
I do have a cup on here.
I'm going to do Nolan Ryan because of...
I was worried that was too far.
Well, he played in the 90s.
I think he did.
I looked it up. I made sure.
I'll give it to you.
That brawl on the pitcher's mound was something else.
Beat some ass. Beat some ass.
There was some blood going there.
Beat some ass. Nolan Ryan didn't care one single... I tried to watch that documentary, or that movie about him. It was okay.
I never knew there was a movie.
It's on... What's it on? It might be on Hulu.
What's the movie?
It was just a movie about Nolan Ryan. Maybe it's on Netflix.
Facing Nolan. You know what? I have seen that. I have heard about that.
Is it on Netflix? Yeah, it's on Netflix. Okay. I watched it on Netflix. We watched it one night.
So is it a movie or a documentary or?
It's kind of. I think it's like a. I want to say it's a documentary, but it's a movie more.
Okay.
Well, it's a documentary. Oh no, it is a documentary. Yeah, because he actually comes on there.
Okay. I'm going to watch that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. And 27 years.
That's insane. But
so when he was pitching in the 90s, he was 50 years old.
Well, that's the thing about baseball. I was told this at a young age that if, like, I mean, I was never going to make it to the pros in anything, but everybody always says, oh, I want to be a professional football player, professional basketball player. If you want the longevity and, like, to make money, yeah, those are where to go, but, like, the longevity is baseball. You can be him, you can be Jamie Moyer, and just, as long as you can throw 85 miles an hour.
Or an NFL kicker.
Yeah, or a kicker, an
Or a long
Terry.
snapper. Shout out AJ.
Yeah. Shout out AJ. Okay, so you have... Just me
Okay,
picture,
so
right?
what do we do? We just finished. Oh, you need a picture.
I need a picture. So I have one more here. I want to take this one just because he's a Cub, and I know you know who he is, but I don't want him on my team.
I know who it is now. He wouldn't happen to take a bat to Gatorade coolers and stuff like that?
Yeah, he would.
Okay.
No, but I'm going to take Justin Verlander.
Okay. That's a good one.
Justin. Yeah, it was Carlos Zambrano. I thought about taking him.
Big Z.
But I had still...
Well, we still got bench players.
I'm not doing pitchers.
All right.
Yeah. The other pitchers I had on here, I had Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay, Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright, CC Sabathia, and then Zambrano.
I had Kurt Schilling.
I forgot about him.
Yeah. And then Tom Glavine and John Smoltz. I almost went the 3 Braves with Maddox, Smoltz. And
that would have been...
What a pitching staff.
That's unreal that they had them all on one team. There was... I almost put Woody Williams, Jeff Supan.
Yes. He had a red glove, didn't he? Cardinals?
Yeah.
Had a red glove.
Who else? I almost put... Mark Mulder.
Ray King.
I almost put Jason Isringhouse as my closer.
Well, these are starting pitchers. We didn't really do relief pitchers, so they're kind of...
No, I was worried about... I don't know too many relief pitchers.
Sam Coonrod.
Sam Coonrod. Oh, it's my turn, isn't it? Okay.
So what are we doing?
Okay. What do I need to do here? I'll just keep going my infield. I'll do catcher.
Okay.
And I'll do Ivan Rodriguez.
Why would you not do Yachty? He's the GOAT, according to Cardinal fans.
Do you want my honest opinion on Yachty?
I don't know. You might not want to do that in your geographical location.
I've already been told people this, and people have already wanted to put my head on a pike. To me, yes, he is a Hall of Famer. But if you're going to give me someone a hot take for Hall of Famer, not a first ballot, no. If you are going to offer me someone in the position of catcher that can hit the ball, I am gladly going to take them over Yachty. Yachty, yes, Yachty can hit, but look up Yachty's like career average. It's got to be like
240,
250, and to me, that's not.
It might be like 260.
It may be 260. Towards the bottom, Brandon.
Keep going to like Baseball Reference.
Yep.
Click on that. Or there's 277.
Still not bad.
Whoa.
Still not terrible, but look up Ivan Rodriguez. It's got to be like 290 something. This Baseball Reference website is terrible.
Keep scrolling.
Sorry, Baseball Reference.
Wait. Yeah, there we go. Keep going down. All the way. Okay, 296.
I was close, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to me, I would much rather have someone that can actually hit the ball. Yachty, anytime I'd get so pumped to see Yachty come up to bat, he strikes out. Or he pops up. Still a great player to me, but I got to take him. Sorry, Cardinal fan. I'm still a big Yachty fan.
Well, Yachty is going to go undrafted in our little draft.
Good.
Because I'm going to go...
To me, yeah.
I'm going to go with Mike Piazza.
I did have him on my list, too.
Mike Piazza.
I did have him on my list, too. But he is not... Yachty, I still love Yachty, but you may get picked for the bench. Probably not. But...
All right. We going shortstops?
Yeah, I might as well finish out the infield here.
Okay. It's me, right?
Yep, it's you.
Cal Ripken Jr.
I didn't have him. He's on my other list, but he played in the 90s. He played
2,300 games in a row.
And when I was younger, I didn't really think that was that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Until now, especially now that I'm getting older, and I understand my body a little bit better. These people are in shape.
13 years straight, didn't miss a game.
And there's people that miss a game because their finger didn't feel very well, or Like, I have this little red ink thing. Maybe, let's say I stab myself with this ink pen. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I must take the day off. Now, I'm at least going off of people I watched, people I grew up watching. I'm not a Derek Jeter fan. Derek Jeter, to me, he's kind of overrated. He's still a good player, don't get me wrong, but he's overrated. He's not. Everybody acts like he's like a 350
hot
hitter.
Take number 2.
Yeah, hot take number 2. Still a Hall of Famer, but to me, he's not someone I want on my team. I'm taking Jimmy Rollins.
You're taking Jimmy Rollins over him.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I'm going off the people I watched growing up.
Yeah.
And he was
Career
one
with the Phillies was
I watched growing
successful
up.
run.
I'm not going to tell you my other one because he might be my bench player.
Right.
So I'm not going to tell you that one. Okay.
So outfielders goes to you.
Okay. My first outfielder I'm taking Ken Griffey Jr. He is my favorite outfielder. Probably my favorite outfielder of all time. I don't want to say top 2 because I'm going to put him over my next guy now.
I'm going to do it before you do.
No, don't, because he's my number 2. He's a kid I grew up watching.
I can remember waiting up at night when he was chasing the home run record. Barry Bonds.
Damn it.
Those San Francisco games were late. It was past bedtime.
He needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what people say.
PEDs weren't illegal when he was there. That's why we hold it against him.
Still, I mean, you still got to hit all those home runs, and he still did. He still got to hit a baseball. It's not like people act like steroids. Like, I'll compare it to like when you play a video game, baseball. They act like steroids make you do like that, where it's easy to hit a baseball, but you still have to hit a ball this big, coming in 100 plus miles an hour.
Impressive still.
Damn it. Okay.
So snakes to me now.
Yeah. So yeah, you get to pick.
Okay.
Yeah, you get to pick. Yeah.
All right.
I didn't think of that. Shit.
Damn
it.
Wow. Just looking at my lineup here, I think I need a leadoff batter. Ichiro Suzuki.
He was on my list too. He wasn't my number 2 though. Ichiro.
I'm afraid you're gonna take mine.
I know people are mad we haven't said him, but I'm still not going to say him. I'm taking, like I said, I am basing this all off my childhood. All off my childhood.
Don't take him.
Jim Edmonds.
Dang it!
I'm taking Jim Edmonds.
I was going to pick him next.
I'm putting Ken Griffey in left field, and Jim Edmonds is playing center. I know Jim Edmonds isn't like
defensively
the greatest hitter, but I loved watching Jim Edmonds play.
Got to meet Jim Edmonds.
I've heard he's an asshole.
He talked to me.
Sorry if you are one.
He talked to me. I told him he was my favorite Cubs player of all time.
I forgot. He played for the Cubs. I forget. He played for Anaheim Angels too.
Yeah. End of his career, he hit two home runs in the same inning with the Cubs.
I didn't know that either. I just remember he was one of the big, because he was left-handed is the reason I liked him, and it was just something about him that I mean, he'd either hit a home run or strike out.
Man, those were some bad Cub years when he was there. 08, I think.
The Cubs were pretty bad back then, weren't they?
I mean, his batting stance, how far were his legs apart?
I don't think he
didn't take stride.
No, it was just swing and turn.
I can remember really working on Jim Edmonds' batting stance.
His teeth are as yellow as your paper.
All right. So.
Oh, it's me.
Have you?
Yeah, I got to pick my right fielder.
Oh, man.
Damn it. I'm going to do it just to make you mad.
No.
I'm going to take Sammy Sosa.
Who does this leave me with?
Just to make you mad, I'm taking Sammy Sosa. I'm surprised no one's taken this one yet. And I wouldn't be shocked if you do it.
I got Pedro. I need Manny.
Manny
being Manny.
No one's taken him yet, but I guess I'll take him on my bench. I guess you got Ichiro to play center. All right, now
here comes our bench.
And we can just do any of them. But I think I'm gonna do mine strategic. I think.
Just thought his name. Didn't think of his name earlier, but I want him on my team, and I want him to be a pinch hitter for my team. Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn. That's another good one.
Brandon, look up Tony Gwynn strikeouts.
He's got it's absurd. It's absurd.
It's absurdly low.
430 24 times. And
21 times a year on average.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Brandon's going to put that up for this, but that is 21 strikeouts a season. That's an insane amount.
So if I'm going to have a bench player come off the bench and pinch hit in a situation,
he's not going to strike out.
he's not going to strike out.
He's at least going to hit the ball.
But unfortunately, that might mean he forces himself into a double play. But I can count on him to make contact with a runner on third.
Yeah, that's all you need. Just put it out there. Get it.
My guy.
Get it out there.
My guy.
I'm going to do it just because nobody's done it yet.
Every single one of your picks has been, I'm going to do it because...
Well, I keep thinking you're going to do it because I know if anybody is watching that is a younger person, they're screaming out. No, they're screaming.
Well, then they need to watch baseball.
They do need to watch baseball, but I'm picking Mike Trout. Nobody picked him yet, and that's the person I've been talking about. I'm surprised neither one of us have yet. The reason that I think...
He's got a lot to prove.
I think you're just saying that just because he's on the Angels. And they're so bad. Because I read this one, there was one as a meme thing. You'll hear Mike Trout hit 3 home runs or 2 home runs, and what's his name? Shoney? No, what's his name? I don't know his name.
Shohei Ohtani
hit 2 home runs, and the score will be the Angels lost 8-4.
Yes. And there was 20,000 people there.
Yeah. So I think that's why you're giving him such a bad rap. But everybody says he's the next. I mean, well, they say Ohtani's the next best thing too. But everybody says Mike Trout's one of the top 3 greatest of all time already.
Okay.
That's me again.
Oh, it's you again.
Yeah.
So this is my last. Your last pick.
No, this is
your
second to last. I can move Albert around, so I'm taking Mark McGwire. I gotta have him.
Oh man, I guess
I have Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa on the same team. Oh, you gotta start looking up people now.
No, I've got one.
Oh, okay.
I am looking some people up though. I'm not gonna lie.
Got you a little flustered now. Got you work.
Well, it's just I should have brought more to the table here.
Got you all worked out.
My next one, I think, because I have him down here.
That's what I like. I like people getting flustered. I'll make you say some stupid
Chipper
name.
Jones.
He's on my list too. That's a good pick, though. That's a good pick. That's a very good pick. Not too many people know about Chipper
Who was your
Jones.
second bench player? Oh,
Mark McGwire.
You just want that Big Mac land.
Free Big Macs for everybody.
Here, I'm just going to do it because he was one of my favorite players growing up. Just
That's what you got to do.
It is. And
it's not.
it was all about the batting stance, too.
No, it's Gary Sheffield. Yeah.
Here's what I found.
Oh.
Gary. Oh, now look it up. He was
Best
on mine
batting
too.
stance.
Gary Sheffield.
I mean,
That was a name I haven't heard in a long time.
we would emulate, out in the front yard.
Oh,
Brother and I. I'm Gary Sheffield. And just moving,
Gary Sheffield.
just moving the bat as quick as Bonds did the same thing.
This makes. I don't know. I don't know who for my last one here. I don't know if I should make it a funny one. Or if
Well, your last one may never get in, may never play. It's just the guy you want.
Gotta have him then. Oh, Larry Walker. Larry
That's
Walker.
funny. That's
Larry
funny.
Walker.
Like Larry Walker from Carrollton?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the Larry I'm taking.
All right.
So Larry, if you're watching, I need you to suit up. I need you to
You
suit
talking
up.
about that toy?
That toy's rolling up to Busch Stadium.
Oh, man.
But I'm okay. I'm taking him off. I'm not really picking him.
Oh, the pick was in.
I'm not.
Let's go to the review booth here.
Brandon, what's the booth review say? Larry Walker's a joke.
Let him repick. It was funny. It was funny.
Or should we let fate decide? Flip a coin.
I'll let fate decide.
Let fate decide.
Yeah, I'll let fate decide. Hold on. Before, just in case so I have someone. Okay. Heads.
You don't get a repick.
All right, Larry, you're rolling.
So
with me.
who was it? Who were you going to...
If I had to pick again, I was going to pick Vladimir Guerrero.
He was on
Senior.
the list. Yeah. Man, his arm. I'm pretty sure he threw a ball from the warning track to home plate in the air.
I could
Threw a
believe
guy
that.
out. Maybe it was a one hopper.
I could believe that.
But
I mean, I watched his son the other day. He's exactly like him.
Yep.
He's exactly like him.
All right. So I think you ought to put those teams out there. And
Yeah, let us know who you think's better. Brandon will put a little thing together for us. But I think we had some good teams. There was some. I was worried that we were going to have the same people, but I'm glad we didn't.
well,
We did
there's
have
plenty
some-
of
we did-
choices.
yeah.
There's plenty of choices. Roldis Chapman was a closer that had thought about, but he's so shaky.
Yeah, he's not.
16 Cubs though.
I thought about putting Adam Wainwright as my closer because he was a closer too at one point. But I'm glad we were able to do this. I like talking about baseball. It's been a long time since I've talked about baseball like that. It's so hard now. But I was worried, like I said, we were going to have a lot of the same picks, but I'm glad we didn't. There's a lot of variety. And I think that's why I'm glad when you said, and you texted me yesterday, you were worried about doing like old people.
Babe Ruth.
Because, I mean, yeah, there's no offense to like Babe Ruth and all those guys. Yeah, they were really great for their time. But like I said earlier, if you put Honus Wagner up against I'll use Aroldis Chapman, and Aroldis Chapman throws 104 miles an hour at him, he's probably not going to hit it. If you put some of these older people up there with some of these people now that can throw a curveball and a slider now, they're not going to hit it. They're not going to do anything with it. Good luck. They're still a lot better than I can do. A lot better than I'd ever dream of doing. But they're not going to hit that. And I hate when people try and compare generations. It's even with that. Well,
let's not get into that. That can be someone else's podcast.
Yeah, I can go off and on.
Who's the GOAT? No. I'm not doing it.
I'll start an argument with you right here.
No.
It's LeBron James.
No.
I hate to tell you that, but it is LeBron
not gonna
James.
Argue.
But I forgot when we were getting ready to do this baseball draft, I forgot we pulled these up a little bit ago.